All right, this is going to cover um, I'm just going to cover how I made this dress in Marvelous Designer. I actually been interested in this program for a while. Um, and after I made this dress, this is pretty much one of my first real tries in Marvelous Designer, trying to make something interesting. I just wanted to go over exactly some of the things I did to actually make it and my process. I've had a few people ask me about it. I'm actually going to just put this little project thing on Gumroad for free, so people can just open and look at it, and maybe they'll learn something. I mean, it's not really that much of anything to go through, but usually when people are learning, if they have something that they can look at for examples that will help them. Um, if I can go over here and open what I started with. Actually, I'm not going to add, I'm just going to open. No. When I initially made this, I just created a top. I tried to get it to where it would actually conform to the breast size. I mean, usually when you're dealing with anime characters and their obscenely large chest area, um, I kept having issues where the clothing would not actually fit properly under the chest. Um, with this, I actually have increased where is it? The particle distance. I've actually increased this, well, decreased, should I say, down to 5. I think by default, you get something at 20, and it's really blocky, and you can't get the clothing to conform as you want around your actual model. Let's see if I can undo that. It should have switched back to 5. Yeah, it did. Let me re-simulate and it should. There we go. And that helped with the conforming. If you actually still have issues, you can actually come in here and just take a dart and scale that to about the size that you need to compensate for just like the little hanging area that would happen under the breast. If you wanted to conform more to the actual body, you could just sew that together. And when you simulate, it should bring that closer to the actual body to help get that to conform to the shape that you need. Once I created this, turn it off. Once I created this, I went over to trying to make a longer dress to try to get the hips and the posterior aligned correctly. Also, to like get this part here, the little stitches that I had for the shoulders, I moved that out and pretty much got rid of the back area and stitched these two together to create the little back neck strap, and extended the rest of the shirt down to the body. I don't think I had to do much to actually get this to conform, at least around the hip area. It just worked as is. I didn't even have to space this out that much when I brought it down. The only thing I would have to say that's bad in my opinion is the fact that I moved the seam backwards. Usually I try to keep the seam down the side like it should in regular clothing. but I was just experimenting and trying things out. From there, I just extended it out more, trying to get it closer to the ground to see if I can get the dress to hang properly. Now, note, when I did this, I did use a source. I'm finna see if I can find it real quick. My source images are usually pretty much from Pinterest, and I pretty much just took a day going through Pinterest and seeing what kind of outfits I would like, and one of them in particular stood out because it was pretty, what's the word? I was looking for something that was like kind of dark, elegant. I'm actually trying to see if I can use this for one of my characters in my game. And when I originally just started, I wanted something she's gonna be a mage. So I wanted something that was dark and elegant. I mean, I had things like this that I was looking at. But eventually I went with this example that I was trying to mimic in some way. Just for like the shape and sheer like drop of the fabric and things like that. Trying to get close to what I was looking for. But not exact, references are references. But from there, I was actually able to get this closer to this. So if I pull this away real quick, can I hide stitching? I forgot how to hide stitching. There we go. Show 3D threads. All right, so I'll turn that off. Good. So pretty much from that initial dress that I pulled down, I had to slowly work with the actual particle distance at a higher number, somewhere around 15. And if you see, you'll start getting the jaggedy edges from the lower polygons. But I tried to get that and pull slowly while simulating to pull the dress out towards the sides on the ground. And then once I got them to somewhat an extreme out here, I upped the particle distance. So that way when I simulate it, I lowered the particle distance. So that way when I simulate it, it fell more realistically towards the ground. And then after I had that, I just came in to do a internal cut from just a given little area. So holding control to get like a curved cut and double click at the end. I would just come in here and cut this piece out from the dress and pretty much get rid of it to get the cut in the slip. Let me undo that. And then I cut the other side as well, I actually had to pull this back a little bit for the cut because I didn't want to reveal too much of her leg. As for the middle area, let me resimulate this so this can come back out properly. I'm not worrying about the skirt right now. I was just trying to get this back. When I initially cut this area, Let me make sure I'm back at the right particle distance. I am, but it's not. Maybe I went even further down. I think I went probably down to a 3, of which they'll warn you about, hey, you may not want to do that because it's going to make the viewport a lot slower. But what it did allow me is, I probably went all the way down to 1. But before I cut this, I went down to a very, very low particle distance so that my cut on the fabric can be as detailed as this pattern. When I actually exported the ZBrush, when I actually export this to ZBrush, I'm probably going to lower the distance all the way down to 1 so I can have the most densest mesh, so that way I can keep this little shape that I cut into the outfit. But pretty much all I did was cut and sew it back to its part, so that way I can put a different material on it. And also it gave me the ability to use this tube tool and just click and bring out the tool all around the seams that I cut to create the actual outlining for the tube itself. I mean, for the dress tubing. Get rid of that, escape. For the external, sorry about that. Let me actually just reload this real quick because that simulation just pulled the mess out of this clothing. Let's see. So when I actually created the little frills on the dress, I was going for, I wanted enough to make sure I had enough folds for the different areas. And what I did was pretty much followed the lines of the internal lines that I made in the dress. And I made each of these sections that I made, each of these sections for the actual dress, double the length of the section it's going to be sewn to. So that way I was pretty much guaranteed that it would give me a nice ruffle fold on those edges, a nice even one all the way across. So pretty much each one of these is double the amount. So that way, you know, you get this type of effect. I did the same thing for the lace, which is a, you know, just a double length on the actual part that I'm sewing to the internal lines of the dress. For the extra textures and things like that, if you go to CG Elves, of which, mind you, this is the same site I've gone to for my initial learning for Marvelous Designer. I mean, it's only $50 for an artist, and that's pretty cheap for all the stuff that she covers. And she pretty much covers almost everything you need to know. I sat down and went through the videos in probably one day, and after that I created this dress. But that's really helpful. Also, on her site, I can't find it. Oh yeah, that's free. All the textures that I'm using and some other things that she has on here, she has for free. But usually all you have to do is just do an annoying little free share on your Facebook wall or whatever, and you can delete it afterwards or whatever. But it'll give you the link to the clothing textures, like these right here. She has pretty much a lot of starting up materials that you can use in Marvelous Designer, as well as this that I use for the little trimming of the dress, or I guess shearing, if that's the actual technical term. That will help you out a lot. But pretty much these are some of the base textures I've used along with the normal map to scale that in to size, and also I've tinted that down a little bit for the color. And to give this little shine effect, I've upped the specular color a little, so you can get that little shimmering effect when you go across. Hopefully when I get this into Unreal, I can actually get this same type of effect, and I think this will look really good in there. As for the lace, I went and found some free lace online. I got some from textures.com, that they usually have stuff for gaming, but they come in black and white. And for Marvelous Designer, you actually have to bring your alpha in within the image to get that effect. Not using the actual alpha slider, but the image itself has to be a PNG or whatever with that image. And I found this technique online that helped just automatically make the alpha that you need from a black and white image, which I plan on using this a lot for other things, but I pretty much used that to get my alpha map for the actual lace on the actual outfit. And I mean, I really like this. Actually, I don't think that's the same lace I'm using right here. I think I went and tried to find some other lace online, to one that's at least tolerable. Actually, that might actually be it. I think I just have this on the wrong section. Yeah, I think this is just in the wrong area. I must have moved the dress when I was playing around with some other things. There we go. There we go. That looks a lot better. And the rest of it's hidden in there, so you don't have to worry about that. Especially since this is the only part that's going to be visible. The best part about this is the fact that all this stuff is already UV'd. I'm actually going to try 2 different ways of actually doing this. When I export it, I'm going to try to actually lower the particle distance, which will lower the poly count for the actual model, but it will keep the generic shape of this dress and keep the UVs. And I'm going to try to mirror that over into ZBrush, so I can do the least amount of cleanup and the least amount of work to actually transfer this object over to another platform. I know I had to increase the particle density. I mean, you can see I have over 100K polys, but if I select all of these and actually take it down to about 15, I lose my pattern that I had in the middle. This is the one thing I'm concerned about the most, is the losing that effect, which may force me to UV it and do my own UVs of this dress. But for the most part, for the dress itself, I can keep most of my actual shape of the dress and design of the dress at 14K tries, which with the LODs that I can use in the engine, that seems like it'll be okay for me, but I guess I'm gonna have to experiment. I think that's all that I can say for this. Everything else is pretty straightforward. I mean, just seeing what you want to stitch to what to make different effects. I've fallen in love with this program. It has so many different features that just makes clothing easier, especially from my other tries of trying to make my own clothing from ZBrush. more time intensive to do it in ZBrush, and it took me about 2 hours to make this, which that amount of time in ZBrush, I probably wouldn't have been able to make anything close to this. So I'm happy where I put my money. So hopefully this helps some, and I'm going to try to see if I can put this on Gumroad probably before the video finishes processing, and hopefully that'll help some other people out there getting started with this program. It's fun and it's addicting, much like most of these programs out there. Have a nice day, and I hope it helps.